Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Good morning, good
Good
day,
morning.
noon, good night. I don't know. Whatever.
That's right. It could be any of those things because it could be you could be watching this at any time. So
That's right.
perfect.
Maybe a year from now or 10 years from now. Who knows? Who knows where
Who
we'll
knows? How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I think a conversation for today, because I'm living it, is emotional weight. It's a thing. And if you don't believe it's a thing, it is. And I say that because I have talked several times about manifesting and, co-creating with the universe. And, I still believe it. And I believed it then that we can manifest whatever we want. It's our belief in it. And it's our worthiness of believing in it, in ourselves. And it's also the stress. So when you're in the middle of some chaos, a storm, and you cannot take your attention away from it because it's right there, it's in your face, you're focused on it, and no matter how much you try to not focus on it, you focus on it. And I know that, and I've known that for years, even in talking about co-creating with the universe. So recently I had to make the decision to take a breath from my business and get a full-time job for the purpose of paying my bills. The bills still have to get paid. So in doing that, it took my focus off of the bills needing to be paid, not enough money in the account. How am I going to pay this next bill, right? And even though I would redirect my focus, that was still in the back of my mind. So it wasn't completely, my focus off of it wasn't complete. So by going and opening that door of getting a full-time job, knowing a check is coming, money's coming into my account, my bills are being paid with ease, which is a request in my co-creation with the universe. I want my bills to be paid with ease. I've been asking for that for quite a while. And here we are. It's happening. It's happening in a way that I did not expect or think of before. And I've also talked about going to the gym and getting my body in shape. And that really sparked or lit that fire back in December when I saw December of 2022, when I saw my, when I went to my doctor's appointment, got my yearly checkup, and I managed to reduce my size by 19 pounds from December to about a week ago. And I couldn't get past that. Couldn't get past it. So in the relief of getting a full-time job and knowing that my bills are paid, it's like not a stressor, I've reduced another pound in a week. So I feel, because of this change that's happening in my financial status, that there will be more weight released with much more ease. So stress, first of all, stress has a huge impact on our body. But also, if you think about when financial burdens, relationship problems, not liking your job, having health issues, we take that weight on. I get that sensation through my neck and shoulders, which is a indicator that I'm taking on the weight of the world, so to speak, but it's the weight of my problems, the weight of our problems in my marriage. And so taking that on, so we use those words, right? The weight of. And so what does that do? It piles up within our body. So I just want to bring that to people's awareness that if you are in some way struggling with reducing your size, maybe you've tried every diet in the world, every one of them worked, but what happens when you go off of them? You usually gain more pounds back and than where you started to begin with. Well, you want to, my suggestion is take a look of what's going on in your life. What are you focused on? What are you still hanging on to from your past? What is causing internal struggle mentally, emotionally? Just really start looking into all aspects of your world, your inner world, and just notice, where is that weight? Where are you hanging on to that weight?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, very awesome for you.
I know. I got on the scale because I weigh myself once a week. I got on the scale. I'm like, oh, I did it. 20 pounds. I'm so excited. I celebrated for a few moments and got excited about it because it's just been one of those things. Like every week, I'm like, oh, still 19 pounds. It will fluctuate 16 to 19 pounds, 16 to 19, right? Every week. And I'm like, what the hell? Seriously, this has been months. Well, now I know. And actually,
Nice.
I'm just gonna say, I knew even before deciding to getting a job, I already knew what my block was. I just had to do something different. So I did. And was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. I talked about this in the last couple of videos that I grieved, ugly cried grieving because of the change. And so, but at the same time, I knew something good was going to come out of it. And great. I mean, it just good is where I could be. I knew something good would come out of it. But really, when things happen, great things can come out of it. But maybe we're just not mentally and emotionally there to recognize great things could happen and all the possibilities. And so this job doesn't even feel like work because I'm actually doing what I was doing sitting here in my desk. I'm just doing it at a different desk and I'm surrounded by people. I'm meeting lots and lots of new people. I'm learning lots and lots of things about our community. And even like when I was sitting at my desk, 5 o'clock, I kind of did the, stop working around 5 so I could cook dinner. But even then, I would work till 6. Same thing at this job. It's like, oh, it's 5. Oh, I got to go. It's 5 o'clock. Really? It doesn't, which is fabulous. It doesn't even feel like a job, job, right? It's daunting. It's actually been fun and so much variety. And it's been interesting. I mean, like, seriously, it's been very interesting learning all this new stuff. So
Nice. Feeling your way through it. That's one of the things I notice for when the emotions start coming up. If we get caught up in the story, I'll slow down and start listening. Where is it showing up in my body? How is it showing up in my body? And then I start asking all kinds of questions and I ask for help to raise my vibrational frequency because a lot of times it's harder it feels like it's more daunting to address any of the situations from the space where you're coming from that victim, trauma, drama, emotions, like just stuff that was stuck. But it's not just stuff it aside and then go get busy and ignore it. It's to stop and reflect and allow it to release from you, not to hold on to it anymore, which is so amazing. Amazing afterwards. Amazing when you recognize you're in your story, that you're repeating a story over and over and over again. It's pretty incredible. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday, and one of the persons had said on there, it's being aware of what you're asking for, because he's a psychic medium and he would do all this stuff, and he was young, and he said to him, or he said, like, I just want to feel normal. And so then he goes into do a reading for a group, and nothing's coming through, nothing's happening, and he's like what, he's like asking inside of himself, like, what's going on? How come this isn't happening? And it flashed in his mind what he had asked for. So we ask for a lot of things, whether we intentionally know we're doing it or not. And you talked about what we put our attention on. It's like whatever you're putting your attention on. If you want to sit and watch the news all day, you're putting your attention on whatever that energy is. And whatever that energy is, you're asking for more of that energy. So if you're watching some sort of a new newscast that's going to uplift you and raise your vibration, that's awesome. Then everything you go listen to or do after that's going to be more uplifted. And you can, with an awareness and with asking, you can maintain that higher and higher and higher. But we get a tendency to get back into the old story real quick, back into the old paradigms, just all the old stuff. And I feel like everybody is like kind of reaching and grasping at whatever they are familiar with these days because things are so unfamiliar. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not bad, this unfamiliar area. It's like, well, okay, so what does abundance look like from this area? What does love look like from this space? How can I be around people and still love them? And how can I honor myself? That's one thing I've learned recently is more communication. I'm not always great about that, but I'm working on it. I'm not keeping stuff inside of me anymore. I just let it out. I don't let it out like I'm word vomiting all over somebody. I'm letting it out like I'm standing my ground for things. If I don't feel comfortable with a client, I'm letting them know, or I'm putting it out there like I'm going to cancel this person, and the person calls because I'm removing them from my calendar, and then the person calls and cancels their appointment. It blows my mind, but that's our intentions. That's when we decide what our worth is. And also realizing I'm not here to fix everybody. It's not my job to fix everybody. It's my job to fix me. Not that there's anything wrong with me, but it's my job to work on this, to become familiar, to understand why I get the goosebumps to where I get the goosebumps when I get them, to understand how I can be in silence more and hear more of the communication that's coming through. And for me, a lot, it's just scribbling. I can sit here, listen to something else, and it's like I get downloads of information. I'm not even trying anymore. I don't try. It's just something that's just coming. And it's, I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'm meditating. I quit smoking marijuana because I could feel it was just before my grandson was born, but I could feel that it was a distraction. I had gotten to the point where it was distracting me from my thoughts, and it was interrupting my dreams. I wasn't having dreams that I could remember. I would have like pieces and I would know that I had a dream, but it's stepping away from that. And even recognizing how in the evenings I might feel like I want to gravitate towards that, or it might kind of be a hint of it. And it's like, no, I just go on and do something else. And I listen to what my body's asking for, and I'm soothing it. But I'm listening to it. I'm hearing what it's asking for. I'm also paying attention to how we view ourselves. We view ourselves, and it's like, if you age spots, let's just use age spots. If you see age spots and you see them on people when you're working on them, or you see them on whatever, you're creating that in your own physical body automatically. So my thoughts are, I'm seeing myself the way I want to see myself, and I'm noticing a shift. I dropped down to 149 pounds. I'm not trying to drop weight, but I did because there's a change going on in my body. So to go from dropping fat to adding some more muscle. So I'm in the process of all this stuff, but it's not something that I physically have to do. It's me being aware of where my thoughts are at. Am I looking at myself and seeing something that's wrong when nobody else sees it, but I'm seeing it? So now I'm creating something I don't want to create because no one else sees it. I communicate with people. I'm asking questions instead of walking. If I leave a situation and I'm driving home and I feel like, oh God, I shouldn't have said that, or I feel like I feel stupid, which I know this is childhood stuff, but in order for me to step into that or to recognize what's going on and move past it, I ask questions. And so for the person I would be talking to, I would ask their questions, and it's like they answer. Especially, I know that I've got someone in my life that is 100% like, she just automatically will tell me, she tells me the truth no matter what. She tells everybody the truth, and she's so refreshing. She's so refreshing because a lot of times I feel like, and I say the truth because a lot of times someone will say, how you doing? Oh, I'm great, but I'm not great. Do you know what I mean? So to me, it's having that integrity to say, well, I'm having a shitty day today, or whatever. But also knowing, I know it can get better than that. It's not, when I say that doesn't mean that I'm going to maintain that, but I'm going to recognize where I'm at, because I'm recognizing where I'm at so I can go to where I want to go to. I can lift up to where I want to lift up to. And I'm doing these things. And I'm feeling happy. I'm getting up in the morning, I'm feeling happy. I'm enjoying all my dogs around me because I've got 6 of them. So I'm enjoying them. Like if I'm going on in the room to get ready for our video today. And it's like, I look back and they're all laying in the room with me. And I'm like, this is awesome. They're hanging out with me. I love it. I'm singing and listening to the songs. I'm just doing things that I want to do. And how do we know? because we put ourselves aside so many times, all the time. Like we put ourselves aside. Oh, for instance, you and I could be having a conversation and I have to go to the bathroom, but I'll sit there and hold it and hold it and hold it as long as I can instead of honoring my body and saying, hey, give me a minute. And it's just those little things. You start doing those little things and everything else starts to shift. Because in your body, everything's like, oh, okay, this is what she wants these days. This is where we're going to go now. And it changes everything. But it's honoring ourselves, and we don't recognize that we're not honoring ourselves until we start paying attention. And that's where I'm at right now.
Our body is such a huge indicator, and it's like we could just talk about that topic forever, because of each part of our body, because of every organ, because of the cells, because of the bones, because of the muscles. Like everything in our body has a story, and it's trying to, when there's some discomfort, it's trying to get our attention. And this weight I have been carrying for several years, not months, years. And it was 2019 when I started in the journey of going to the gym on a regular basis. And then 2020 happened and they shut everything down, and I wasn't motivated enough to do things at home. But I maintained the same weight at that time. And it's taking the time, taking the opportunity to listen to it. I think I've shared before that I attended a retreat, and our teacher said one of our things, because it was over like 4 days. And she's like, okay, tonight you're going to go back to your space and you're going to write a letter from your body to you. And the stuff that came up was, again, ugly cry, because my body had these things to tell me. And the realization was, doesn't matter how much you abuse me, I keep showing up. And that was so heartfelt. And it was like, it was so true. And this is when I realized, like, I was being the abuser, which was what I was trying to avoid, because I experienced abuse in my childhood. But yet here I was abusing myself and doing this. I mean, doing the same thing, just in a different way. It was mental and emotional abuse, which is what I experienced in childhood. And that led to physical abuse because of the heavy amount of alcohol I was putting into my body. And so part of it comes down to is, well, majority of it comes down to we just don't want to face the hard stuff. We just don't. And it's too difficult. But here's the thing, when you have somebody walking with you through it to help heal those layers and to shift your perspective and give you a mindset shift and helping you in those healing processes, it's a lot easier than you think. I think the biggest part is just wanting to move through it, making the decision, okay, I'm going to do this. That takes a lot of strength. And I would say we are all stronger than we're giving ourselves credit for, just because of everything we've already been through. And you've already been through it. Like, you've already been through it. You've already lived it. Now it's going back into saying, okay, now I'm ready to release this. Now I'm ready to heal this. Now I'm ready to see this differently. And with you can't see things differently typically until somebody gives you a way to see it differently. You don't know what you don't know. And that's where I was when I started reading the books. And the biggest one was Wayne Dyer's book, Your Erroneous Zones, when he started giving a different perspective about his dad, who abandoned him and became an alcoholic or was an alcoholic, and then he died. And Wayne Dyer had very deep hurt and anger towards his father, but changed that. He was able to change that perspective in the fact that his dad had his own pain. His dad had his own issues that he was dealing with. Some people would say the demons in your head, and however you see that. I just, it's just, to me, emotional heaviness. And he once he got a different perspective, his heart softened and he had compassion and he was able to forgive. So, don't, I say I did my healing journey alone. Actually, I did it in the closet. I was never alone. I was doing it, quote unquote, in the closet, but I was attending classes. I was reading the books. I was listening to, as much information as I could to help me shift and change. So I never did this alone. I just didn't have the support system around me because nobody else was in the same, they weren't in the same space with themselves that I was ready to be in with myself. So, and I just knew I did not want to live out the rest of my life holding on to this deep-seated anger and shame and guilt that I was carrying until I took my last breath on this planet. I just didn't. There had to be something different. And so I made that decision because I wanted to experience genuine happiness. And I couldn't do it with where I was, and I needed help. So that help came through the forms of books and teachers, and then later I started getting into, getting coaching and mastermind groups. And like, I still, to this day, I'm still reading and in mastermind groups and stuff, because I still need that support system to keep moving forward. And so my message is, don't think you ever have to do this alone. But if you want something different, you got to do something different.
And fear is the one thing that keeps you from looking at these things. You get so fearful and you hold on to these stories, but when you start talking about them, it starts getting easier.
Yeah.
It starts getting easier a lot easier than you thought it would possibly be. And it's like, that takes away a lot of that fear. And so it does remove a lot of weight. And the happier that you are, if we are happy in a regular basis, it doesn't matter what foods we eat. It doesn't matter what we do. Everything is always going our way. We're always happy. Your weight's always going to find its natural balance that feels good. And you're not even going to be paying attention to it because it's not a focal point. It doesn't run your life anymore because you're happy. You're not paying attention to those things. But when we're unhappy, or like you were saying, carrying that weight of things on you, which that does feel heavy, but emotions don't have to be heavy. It can be just like, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and look at this. I'm going to download this, process it, and then I'm going to reformat my hard drive, and everything's cool. I just created space for everything to go to its natural place without trying to control it. And I think a lot of times, mostly, probably almost always, everyone's trying to control some aspect of their life on a regular basis. And probably I'm getting a little bit more lackadaisical about some things, like even being on time for things. I might be a minute or something, but it's like, that's life. That's life. And it's like, if that bothers someone else, then I'm meant to trigger that other person so they have an opportunity to grow from it, because a minute's really nothing. But I did have someone in recently, and he's like, oh, did I get here too early? And I just stopped and I looked at him, because I didn't get it until afterwards. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I was still getting the table. I was bringing in stuff from the vehicle and other things like that. Plus my clock in my office was a little bit fast, so I changed it. But I didn't get it because I wasn't in that space of trying to feel like I had to defend myself or anything like that. It's like, listen, we're on a good time right now. And it's like, I always make sure everybody gets their time. I never short their time. Their time is all, whatever time my hand touches their body, that's when I start my time for the massage time. So, because I honor that hour. If they're paying for an hour, I honor that hour. So it's interesting as we're going through, and I recognize this a while. Gosh, it's been a long time, probably about 10 years ago, because I realized I've been doing massage for 10 years now. So before that, I was a detention officer, and I remember going to training and realizing, getting with a group of people and then laughing, and I realized I hadn't laughed in forever, hadn't been happy for a long time. And the environment I worked on, really, I mean, you might have a couple little chuckles here and there, but it was never that deep belly laugh. And when I got into that space, I started finding my own happiness, and then struggled by trying to keep myself in the space, in a relationship. Hey, I love Jim, but I'll tell you, I think a lot of times we were holding on to our stories, and we weren't moving forward from a lot of things. Does that mean that we go and get divorced or you get separated? No, it doesn't mean that, but it's an opportunity for the growth. It's to see those things. And at that time, at that space, I was not able to do those things. because I was feeling the taste of happiness. That's where all I wanted to do. So I came back home, packed up my stuff, went to my parents' house. That was the way I handled that 10 years ago, or actually it was probably 11 years ago. But it's just interesting that this process, and when you look back, it's, sometimes the stuff feels so traumatizing and it feels so scary. And I beat myself up for the longest time for, you know, for my relationship with Jim, but I realized it wasn't just me in that relationship, and neither one of us were growing. We were both in a stagnant place, and that's okay. It wasn't a bad thing, and we were triggered the hell out of each other on a regular basis. So I mean, all those were opportunities, and until you can get into that space where you can catch your breath, you don't recognize that those are all opportunities. You don't recognize, I don't have to hold on to this stuff anymore. You don't recognize, I've had to peel so many layers of my defensiveness away to come into a place where I don't understand. I mean, I turned around and looked at him. Before I would never have said, I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean? Because that would have made me look like I was stupid and I didn't understand it. But now I just don't understand. And I'm also recognizing it's good that I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything. I don't want to know everybody else's stuff. And then something else I heard too is when we talk about putting labels on ourselves, it's like if we say, oh, I'm an empath, now you've put yourself into a space that you're going to feel everybody's emotions all the time. You could say, I'm empathic, I'm super sensitive, I'm highly intuitive. You could say a million other things instead of putting yourself in this one label in this one box. Just like I've talked about before, saying that I'm psychic or I'm a medium or I'm this. We're all those things. We don't have to label it. We're here to experience things. We're here to love ourselves regardless of what choices that we've made, to do and be better every day. That's what we came here for. We
So,
came to be the ripple.
yeah. And the idea, I would just want to hit on the idea that, your client's concerned about the time and you're just like, I don't understand what you mean, not trying to control. Maybe that's something he needs to experience for himself, right? Because
Retired military. Absolutely.
every encounter with a person is an opportunity to learn something about yourself for sure. And yeah, just planting that seed, like, we're good. What's, it's not a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
what's there to get upset or riled about? Nothing really.
Oh, yeah. Not saying that I don't get riled about some things occasionally, but that just obviously shows me that there's something going on, or it's, hey, speak your truth. Like,
Yeah.
speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
I worked on a person's energy recently, and it's like they're totally ignoring everything about their inner child. Like their inner child's like trying to get all this attention, and all this body stuff is showing up, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's not getting better. And
Yeah.
and that goes back to the early part of our conversation. We can get busy. We can find a million distractions because they're out there. We can play video games. We can get high. We can drink. We can obsessively work out. It's whatever. It's whatever we want to do. It's wherever our mind goes. And if we're in some cases, I feel like maybe it's all, I don't know. But I think in some cases when we're holding on to weight, because we're holding on to some shit that we aren't ready to let go of yet, because we don't know it's there until we're triggered. So we know that it's there, right? But then it's the opportunity, or it's just the fact of, hey, how can I be happy? Every day asking, how can I be happier than I am right now? How can I be happier than I am right now? And then you constantly ask that. You're no longer sitting in all that storm. You're not sitting in your old labels. You're not sitting in your old stories that aren't even all true anyways, but you're not sitting in it anymore. You don't have to. It's like taking a freaking, going and sitting in a jacuzzi tub and in like dirty water, like all the time, or, mud. And mud's not a bad thing either, but you just kind of get the idea that it's not clean and pure. It's there. We have opportunities all around us, and I feel like a lot of this is really focusing on what makes us happy. How can I be happier? And it's really looking at that and asking those questions all day long, and then really being aware of what's coming in our way. When I see numbers now, I automatically look it up. I don't always clear out my cache or my information on my Facebook, or not Facebook, on my internet on my phone. And so I'm going in there and I'm looking up because I got 313. So I was looking up the number, and then I was going through clearing out some stuff, and I got 1313 not that long ago. And I'm like, okay, but I spent, the frequency of the numbers, and I don't wait to see them 3 or 4 times or 2 times. If I see it one time and I'm in an awareness right now, what am I thinking? I look up that number and I find out what it means for me right now. So it's faster now because I don't have to wait for all the extra stuff. If I ask for signs, I know it's coming faster. It's awesome. I meditate like every time I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm meditating again, like I used to do. And I'm seeing all kinds of faces. I don't even know where they're all from. I'm seeing so much different stuff. I'm having different experiences, and it's fun because that's what kind of makes life fun. It gives you like, you feel like you're on this journey. It's like, and it makes it more magical. It doesn't feel so mundane because our daily tasks can become very mundane. And that's another thing. It's awesome that I have massages, but it's also putting my foot down and recognizing I don't like to do more than 3 massages. I prefer 2 a day. And I only like to do them a few times a week. And that's okay. I don't have to try to compete with someone else that likes to do 8 or 9 a day. I don't care. You can kill yourself, or if that makes you happy, you do it. But that doesn't do it for me. So it's recognizing all these things that what floats our boat, what makes me happy. Doing the things, even in a relationship, doing the things that you want for yourself, being what you want in that relationship. How do you want your relationship to be? Be how you want to be in that relationship. Be how you want to be treated in that relationship. Have the conversations, be loving, because I haven't always been loving, but I have learned a lot, and I am much more loving now, and I'm learning, and I like it. I like the way the feel of where it's going now. And it's not something that's to be controlled.
Yeah.
It's something to be experienced.
And when you talk about being happy, for a few months, I wasn't happy sitting here working on my business because I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything. I didn't feel like I was progressing. And the bills were still, balances were still getting higher. And there's a little bit in money in the checkbook. And so I knew I wasn't happy. And even since it's been like 30 days since celebrated my 1-month anniversary, my new job, people have commented on the shift of my energy and how I'm different. And it's because that stressor has been lifted. And so what Bev's saying, is do things that fill you up. And when you're not feeling that happiness or that joy or that lightness, then something's got to shift. And so take again, your biggest indicator is your body. Your body's going to let you know what's going on. And just taking some time to tune into what are my choices? What are the things that I could do differently? And we've had this conversation that there's an average of 7 solutions to every problem. Make the list. Even if you don't like the solution, write it down, because that opens you up to other solutions coming, and utilize that information to help shift and open the doors. Because if you're staying in the muck and guck of where you're at, that's what you're going to keep getting, muck and guck. And then if you just shift, turn your attention to something else, that something else could just open another door. And in 30 days of this new job and releasing that stress of focusing on, am I going to be able to pay my bills? I've got 3 new clients. Keyword is new. I don't know any of these people. 3 new clients. Well, I take that back. I know one as an acquaintance. And they yesterday referred another person to me. So 3 people who are becoming clients that I don't even know, because I've shifted my focus and I thoroughly am enjoying my job. Like, it's been fun in these 30 days. It doesn't feel like a job. And so that vibrational frequency, if you remember, we talk about vibrational frequency a lot. My vibrational frequency has raised. And now that it's still raising, I'm now attracting people into my business. Like, I haven't, I didn't go get a job just to stop my business. My business is still there. I'm still teaching classes. And I'm still intend to have coaching clients and all that. And that just on my business, I'm just limited on time right now because I do have a full-time job and I still have a household to maintain. So I just fitting that in where I can and still having the opportunity to make or to help people with the direction that they want to move in. And so this is how it works. I know this is how it works. I've known how this is how it works. It was just I had to just do something different. And because I took that step, now these other things are happening. I have another a lady who's reached out to me who wants me to teach a meditation class or breathing techniques to attorneys. So I'm like, how great is this going to get? Because I'm ready now. I've been ready, but I just had to get out of my way.
And let go of, you were holding on to other things, so you had to let go of those things in order for you to be able to open your hands up to hold on to something or receive something new. Because
Right.
you're no longer like this, right? You have your hand open to receive.
Right.
And recognizing it's a choice. We make choices all the time. We can choose to stay in the muck and guck, or we can make a choice to like go meditate. I can sit and get stressed or anxious and feel those feelings and know immediately that's just my body letting me know, hey, I can keep going this way if you want. That's not a problem. Or we can stop and take a breath. We can stop and close our eyes and we can breathe and we can meditate for a few minutes, because I notice it's a huge shift. And that's our choice. And believe me, a lot of times I don't make the choice to meditate. I'll make the choice to stay in that space because it's so easy. Well, it's like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. No, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. Because guess what? You drop off the planet today. All those things that you thought you were supposed to do or had to get done doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. So it's like, where are we putting our energy into?
And along those lines, I just want to throw this in there that, Bev was graciously enough to be flexible in changing when we do tea time, because I got a job. Typically we would do tea time on Tuesday morning at 10, not available that day. So can we do it on Sunday mornings? And so we do the recording on Sunday morning, and it still posts in social on Thursdays. But that first week that happened, my life was very tight on time, and I had to pick and choose things that were of like really priority. And so typically in pre-job on Thursday morning, I would get to my computer and I would post the tea time in the other areas of Facebook. So on my personal page, my business page, and my group, and I posted again in our community group. It automatically posts on our Facebook page, Amy and Bev, and then we have a group, Amy and Bev Community. Well, it already posts because we're streaming this live. We stream it live in the group, Amy and Bev Community. But I would still post it again in that group. So that would be my Thursday morning thing. Well, I have a job, and that Thursday morning comes and I kind of stressed out about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this posted? Well, it didn't get posted, I think, until either Friday or Saturday. And the next week I was like, I'll get to it when I can get to it. If they want to see it, here's what I'm telling you. Go like our Facebook page, or go get into our Facebook group, because it'll already be in there and you get to see it live if you want. So, or otherwise, it's going to post when it's going to post. So I've taken that stress off of me. I know it's going to get out there, and divine timing, right? Divine timing is like, well, you're going to see it when it's the right moment for you. And you may not see this for another 5 years. I don't know. It's okay.
And my whole thing is, I'm not spoon feeding anybody. So I do group 2 times a month, period. And I'm not spoon feeding anybody. If anybody wants to make it to group, they show up to group. If anybody wants to come watch Tea Time with Amy and Bev, awesome. Because you got to listen to what you want. I
Yeah.
can't make people want to make changes in their lives. I can't make them want to show up for themselves. People make excuses all the time. I don't have a ride or whatever. That's fine. There's millions of ways of getting to where you want to get to if you really want to do it.
Right.
That's from my perspective. You do all the advertising and stuff like that. I don't do any advertising. It's not my nature. It doesn't feel, I don't resonate with it. It's not my nature. I just don't resonate with it. It's not something that resonates with me. And I also know there has been times if I wanted to do something bad enough, I would have shown up. And a lot of times I wouldn't show up because a while back I wouldn't show up and I would feel like, well, God damn it, why didn't I just go to that? Because I had my own reasons. And now I don't feel that way anymore. I'm going to show up where I need to show up. I sit and I ask my pendulum a lot of questions. I don't even send out, if I even send out invitations to people, and if anybody listening, if you want to come, mention it. We'll have a conversation. But I don't send out invitations to everyone because it's like a lot of people are contacting me to find out when the next thing is going to go. Hey, Amy, I haven't seen Tea Time with you guys. Where's it at right now? Where can I find it? You got to reach out. We've got to go after what we want. That's paying attention to what we want. And that goes for not just for me, but it goes for everybody. So if I want to do something, if there's a place that I want to go to in town and I haven't gone to it yet, well, that's on me until I can put the focus on doing that. If I want to run around in circles for days and days and days, that's totally up to me. If I want to run around in circles and then wonder why I don't have time to do anything, why I don't have time for anybody, how can I fit this all in? It's getting into that space of, again, go back to the happy conversation, being happy and making those decisions. Because when you're happy, everything just kind of flows anyways. If it's just kind of flowing, I don't have to try to figure out how I'm going to get the grandkids into my life or how I'm going to do this. It's going to flow into my life as it's supposed to. Not for me to kind of run the show and do everything else. It's just for me to, I've got my own things to do. I've got my own focus to work on. I've got me to work on, because the more that I work on me, the more I can see it in my own family. And it's not doing anything. It's absolutely amazing. It's before, the grandbaby came, and it's like he was born Wednesday morning at 6:21. Was it Wednesday? Whatever the 21st was, maybe that was Thursday. I don't remember now. Oh, because it started Wednesday evening. That's right. But so I didn't see clients Thursday or Friday. I didn't see anybody. I just canceled them. And before I would never have done that without, oh my God, the inner turmoil I would have had for that. But it's like, you know what? If I'm not available, that gives that person an opportunity to either, I'm not saying they have to go find someone else, but to also explore those options that there is someone else, or maybe take some time for themselves, because maybe that's the way they've been taking their time for themselves. And maybe it's time for them to find a new teacher, or for them to gravitate to something else. It's not for me to feel like I have to maintain everything for everybody else all the time. And I was doing that. That's why I'm bringing this up, because it was feeling that way. And it's freaking heavy. That's heavy shit. Like, fill your solar plexus when you're having that kind of a conversation. It doesn't feel good. So it's being in a space of just honoring that. And if I don't feel like going in, I'm going to cancel my clients. Sorry, it's not that I don't love them. I don't care for them, but I got to care for myself. I've got to love myself more. I do, because if I can't love myself more, I can't love anybody else. The love that I feel now for Freeman is so huge, but it's only because I'm learning how to love myself. And if I didn't love myself, I couldn't love all the people in my life as much as I do right now. It's not possible. It's not possible, because I kept everybody in a safe place. Because I kept me in a safe place, safe, so I wouldn't get hurt if something happens to him. Well, guess what? Something could happen to him. This is life. That's the way it is. And I'm going to have to grow with that. And it's another growth opportunity. When I tell people, and I understand this is the message, when I tell people it's an opportunity, when someone transitions, it's an opportunity for us to realize the connection was never severed. It was always there all along. And the only way we can find out is when something like that happens, it creates a great asking within ourselves to propel us forward. So all of this, the conversation that we're having, is really like, you really got to check in with what you resonate with. If you don't know how you're feeling, take a look in your environment. Your kids let you know how you're feeling by their energy. How are they acting towards you right now? Your animals act funny, or maybe, like, I have 6 dogs, so they might start having arguments amongst each other if there's turmoil within myself. Your vehicle, maybe you're having vehicle problems. There's just so many things that show up in your life. Because if you're happy, those things can still show up, but they don't seem to, they're like effortless. It's like, oh, yeah, just dust that off. And it automatically gets fixed. Everything automatically gets taken care of. It's just, there is a different flow to everything when we decide to let go and not try to control all aspects of everything. It's amazing. And I'm still working on it. And I'm probably going to be working on it for a while because there's layers of it. However long we've been here, how many lives have we been in this space? How many times have I came back to planet Earth or schoolroom Earth? How many times? Over and over and over and over again. And then having all of our ancestral stuff. It's like looking at all that stuff and just loving all that stuff. And then taking a look at your inner child. It's like I have someone recently, like I talked about, say, back to the inner child stuff. I'm going to have a conversation with this person coming up, and the conversation is going to be, hey, this is the information I'm going to supply to you. You got to do the work. I'm not doing the work. I'm not going to go find the videos that are going to help motivate you. I'm not doing that stuff. I've done it in the past. Now, if I'm watching a video and someone, maybe their face flashes in my mind's eye, or I hear their name, or whatever happens, or maybe they just message me at the same time I'm listening to it, I know that's for them.
Yeah.
Also, it's not just for me, but it's just recognizing those things. And you can't fix people when they don't want to be fixed. And if you think they're broken, then you better turn around and start looking at yourself again. How are you seeing this as a broken person? Because if you're seeing them from a soul level, they're not broken. They're
Right.
having an experience. That's all.
And they're just mirroring their brokenness to you because you feel like you're broken, but you're not really wanting to recognize that.
Exactly. Because we're not. Even all these things that we're doing right now, it's not just for us. It's for the whole collective. It's for the whole planet. It's for the whole universe. It's for everything. Everything that we're figuring out to move through it. If we're constantly thinking that we have to fight something because there's something going on in our lives, we're going to have something to fight. But it's recognizing it doesn't have to have a fight. I would say before, becoming neutral. It's coming. Neutral is just another way of saying coming from the soul. If I'm coming from the soul, I'm seeing everything as an opportunity or an experience. And a lot of the stuff that other people are experiencing, I'm not experiencing.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. It's not because I'm better than anybody else. It's because I've changed my focus.
Nice. When you're talking about the boundaries, what came up, and not babysitting people and stuff, what came up was just before we got on here to record this, I saw I had an email. I have on my website, I have a contact me form. So if somebody wants to reach out and, connect with me, they can leave some information and I can get back to them. Well, the form was filled out from somebody who works on websites. And what they were promoting was the idea that when somebody visits my website, I immediately get notified so I can reach out to them, like right now.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at them thinking, no, I am human. I have a life. And I teach people how to treat me. So if they think they have immediate access to me, that means anytime, day or night, on any day, 24/7. I don't operate like that. I'm like, unless there is a dire emergency, I'm like kind of still old school. You text me after 7, I'll be contacting you tomorrow or my next business day, because I still have things to do in my own life. And when we think about it, you see this with actors, actresses, people of that are well known, your content, really popular content creators. They can't go out into public and be a person. They're always having their picture taken. They're always having people interrupt them. They're always having people all up in their business. And it's like, yeah, those are our jobs. And we still get to be human. We still get to have a life. We still get to spend time with our family. We still get to spend time with that daughter who's in labor, having your grandchild. Like, we still get to have these experiences too. And you teach people how to treat you. And so, yeah, boundaries are super important. And also recognizing babysitting people in this. That was something else that was stirring in me with my business, is babysitting people. I'm like, you're 50 fucking years old. Why are we still babysitting you? Why are
Yeah.
you not taking responsibility to find the information? You have access to the internet. You have access to my website. You have the same access to everything that I do. Why are we still doing this? Why are we not taking more responsibility for our own life and our changes and reaching out to get the information or getting help and still staying stuck in the crap? So I'm like, right, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Do I do the marketing? Yes, I do the marketing, and I have my own I own my own purposes.
Yes.
But the whole babysitting people, and I think too, Bev, that comes from us as having to grow up so quickly in our childhood and being quote unquote independent and figuring stuff out and being in that survival mode. Like, we have those qualities in us, which is great. That's what childhood taught us. Great. We take the responsibility for our life, and we take the time to seek out what we want. And so I think that has, that independence was a great value for us. But those people who grew up, who were coddled, mom did everything for them, and and now they need somebody to hold their hand through everything. It's like, no, let's change that. Let's get out of our comfort zone a little bit, and let's do things a little different, because I still have a house to clean, dishes to do, laundry to do, my own bookkeeping for my own personal finances to do, to run a business now with a full-time job. Like, you got to step it up, people. I'm telling you. And it feels good to say that out loud.
Good.
On a
It's
platform.
empowering. Yeah, it's
Step it
empowering
up.
because it's taking your power back. And I think because training's the thing, a lot of these people are going outside of themselves. And it's easy. It's not easy. We have different training, so now we can see things in someone else that it's an opportunity for them to grow. They could make these choices, and their lives could be a lot easier or a lot better. But for the first part of my life, I didn't want to go that route. And I think I chose that path to be like that. And I'm not upset about it. Before I would have been bothered by it, but I chose that path to be who I am right now. I chose that. I didn't choose an easy path for a reason, because I wanted to grow and I wanted to have other experiences, because I have a better understanding for other people, not even during this experience in this physical body, but for me after I'm no longer in this physical body. It's for all of us. It's to be in that space. It's to even though that my grandfather had molested me, to even love him. I couldn't love him from the space of a human here, but from a soul level, I will always love him. There will be no separation. He is one of my guides, and I know this. But it's like, and gosh, when you think about that in such a different way, I guess if I had to go through something like that, it's better to know that on the other side that we had this soul plan, that we had this, this growth process to have these experiences, so that I could have an understanding about what somebody else had experienced, and in my case, I feel like mine's mild compared to others, what they've experienced. But it's been to spur me into the person that I am right now. And then also knowing when we feel like we're stuck, there's opportunities. You can come talk to us. You can have Reiki treatments. You can have acupressure. You can have acupuncture. I'm going and getting the treatment done in October 10th. She scheduled it, which is my mother's birthday, which is another sign for me that I know this is the right thing. Because why? Because it shows up in my experience. Now that one I did wait for it to come up a few times before I stepped into it to do something about it. Numerous times it's been in my face, because I know this suit that I'm in right now has energy that is stuck in certain places. And it's like going in and having your robot work done to kind of get the wiring all fixed up again, so that everything's flowing smoothly again. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to go do. And when I talk about it, when I think about it, I get emotional, because I know that I'm going to have such a huge response from this, because my body's not going to be all plugged up anymore. My computer, my suit, my whatever you want to call it, my robot, you know what I mean? All these things, it's not something that I have to be caught up into, but I have an opportunity for that growth to release things. I no longer want to carry this stuff anymore. And I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to let everybody go. Honestly, I am. So however that looks, that's fine. I'm not going to hold on to anything, because whatever's supposed to be in my experience is going to be in my experience. those are the people that are going to be in my experience. And we know that those things change. But it's just like for you, if we were holding on to stuff, clients or anything like that, which I have done as well, and I'm learning to let go. I'm just letting go of them because it's not my job to walk with them this whole way. If they want to come, because they can still come see us at Amy and our tea time. They can still come see us to group. They can still sign up for your classes. They can meet you wherever you're doing things at. There's always the opportunity that's right there. It's just whatever they want to do. It's not we're accommodating. So we're there, we show up, and it's this opportunity for someone else to show up and decide if they want to be there or not. And that's been a learning, because when we're talking about people pleasers and fixers and all that stuff, and realizing I don't have to, those weren't my titles. I don't have to claim that anymore. I can just be whatever Bev wants to be. And I'm not even Bev. Like, I'm listening to a Jim Carrey talking yesterday, and I don't remember what movie I can't remember the guy's name that he played the character of. And he got so involved in the character, he lost who Jim Carrey was. And then he realized Jim Carrey's just another person, just like this other person, or Andy Kaufman, I think is who he was, the actor. But when he lost himself in that, he realized, well, who am I? And it's like he even said, I'm not Jim Carrey. I'm not Bev. You're not Amy. We came in here to play a role. We're playing a part to have these experiences. And it's freaking, that's probably a lot for some people, but it really, it kind of takes a load off. It's like, you don't have to know all your words. The words are going to come. You don't have to know your part. You're just going to go out and be, and you're going to do your part, and you're going to experience it. It's without controlling anything. And that's relieving. That's like, oh, great. That means I can't do anything wrong, because I'm really just coming here to have an experience. And I'm really coming here. I'm just in my role right now, in my Bev role, but that doesn't identify who I am. I am so much more than Bev. You're so much more than Amy. We limit ourselves by all these things and these labels, and our names are labels too. And it's okay to be in that space and to honor that space, but also know that you're so much bigger and you're so much more. And when you let go of all that, wanting to control all that and be all that and try to be what everybody else wants you to be, man, life is easy.
Well, when you said, people pleaser and fixer and all that stuff, those were all survival skills, and they served a purpose. And
Yes.
we needed those skills, really. We needed those skills. And so we were given the opportunity to learn them. And did it suck? For me, yeah. For most people, yeah. That the answer is yes. It sucked, how we learned them. But at the same time, it's recognizing, oh, I'm still doing it. 50,
But it's recognized,
right?
yeah, and it's also recognizing we've had the experience of it, so we can see it in others. So when
Yeah.
they come to us for help, it's just like the molestation. It's just like everything else.
Yeah. So we take, Bev and I's taking the time to recognize it, do some healing around it. We're setting boundaries. We're at that space like, well, I don't want to hold your hand. I just don't. And I will be a resource in the best way I can. But you know what? Put the class on your schedule. You know what? We've been doing tea time for 3.5 years. You know when it's available. It's available Sunday at live in our group on Facebook. And it's out there on social media later in the week. So you put that on your calendar and take responsibility for it. You know what we do. Bev's a massage therapist. She has this group. She does these different things. You could reach out to her. I do things. I teach classes. I coach. I do Reiki sessions. I do all this stuff too. Reach out to me. But the survival skills that we learned were so vitally important. And now we've done a huge process of healing those wounds of how we learned those skills, that now those skills are vitally important in the massage therapy, in the coaching, in the classes, in group. And now, even Ed Milet talks about it with his alcoholic father. He had to listen to the keys jingling outside the door to determine if his dad was drunk or not. Now he has exceptionally good listening skills, but he had to heal those wounds. He went through a forgiveness process with his dad, and their relationship changed, and his dad got sober. And so the skills that you learn are still important. Now it's to decide, how are you going to utilize them in a different way that is beneficial for the growth of yourself and others, instead of attached to a victim story.
Yeah.
And again, that all contributes to emotional weight. All of it. Everything we can talk about affects the body. And if it does affect your weight, if you are, it could be you're completely stressed out and you don't eat, and you're not taking care, you could drop weight, like in an unhealthy way. And the opposite is true. You can be completely stressed out, be an emotional eater, and gain a bunch of weight. So, it's just coming back to listening to your body, recognizing what's going on with your body. Sit down and write that letter to yourself from your body, just so you can get somewhat of an understanding. And maybe you need to do that process several times just to start developing that relationship with your body, so you can listen and you can make changes. And if you're going to make changes, put the stuff on your calendar, schedule it in.
Yeah, because you have to take time for yourself. If someone else can't do it, and I don't remind clients of their appointments. I do not. If they send me a message and say, hey, I just want to confirm. Now, have I messed up on the calendar a couple times? Yeah, I actually have. I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with that. Life happens, and there's always a reason that it happened that way anyways. It's not to sit and beat ourselves up about it. It just means that something different was supposed to happen at that time. It's not to beat ourselves up. And like I said, I don't typically remind clients of their appointments. If they can't maintain, or you said a long time ago to me, you're going to do what's important to you always. So if it's important to you, you're going to put it on your calendar. I'm not babysitting people. We've got to gravitate to what's important to us. We have to be our own advocate. I told that to someone recently. I'm going out of my way to set up an appointment. At times I don't normally see a client. And I had to remind, she's like, oh no, I can't ask you to do that. I said, hey, I'm offering this to you, but you've got to be your own advocate. I can't do it for you. I wouldn't have offered it otherwise. So she went ahead and agreed, and we were maintaining that conversation. So
Nice.
It's because people have to do what's important to them. Because if we walk them along all the way, what happens when we're not here anymore? They can't do it. They're lost. And it's not for them to be lost. It's for them to have an understanding that they gain something from us, so they can see themselves and quit hiding from themselves and trying to put the blame on everybody else.
Yeah.
It's to change things, creating boundaries,
And if
protecting your own energy.
And if you were a bird, mama bird's going to kick you out of the nest, and you either out of the nest, and either you fly or you drop.
It's true. We'll see you in your next life.
That's right.
We take things too seriously. And when you think about it, talking about being happy and serious aren't in the same place. They're just not.
And I want to mention, I just want to say this real quick. We're at our hour, and just real quick, I wanted to throw in there that I strongly believe that, like, deja vu moments are just like signposts that we're on our path. And I hadn't had one. Like, I get the numbers all the time, and I love the numbers, and I love looking them up and seeing, like you were talking about earlier, where you're at, what's going on, what are you thinking about? And that's kind of an indicator. So I'll do the same thing. I look up numbers, and I'm still been seeing my numbers, the 444 and 624. And I just smile. I'm like, of course, and just, but the deja vu moments, I've not had one in a long time. And this was just cracked me up that I was at work yesterday, Friday. So it's Sunday right now. So Friday I was at work, and that deja vu moment was me walking into the bathroom at work. And I just cracked. I'm like, of course, this would be one. So it was just funny. And I was like, ooh, yay. Okay, this was meant to be, and we're good. We're good. It's gonna be great. So
yeah. And you're funny you're bringing up deja vus. When my daughter was having Huxley, she had a deja vu moment while we were in there, and it's like, that's awesome. You just know that you're on the right path. I don't know. It's just amazing how you introduce another family member into the family, and how it changes. It creates such a balance where balance was needed.
It's gonna be an amazing journey, I'm sure.
It is.
It already has been in all its
Yeah,
weird ways.
absolutely. Absolutely. All of it is, right? It is. All of it.
So, all right, my friends, we want to thank you for sure for being with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev, your time, your energy. And we, of course, we know you could be doing anything else with this hour of your life, and you chose to hang out with us. So thank you so much. And again, as I mentioned, we are on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group. You can look us up and come join us, like the page, join the group, and connect with us in other ways. Bev mentioned she has a group, meets every 2 weeks or twice a month. And so it's very important. It's supportive. It's a great way to get that non-judgmental support and be with like-minded people to be able to talk about things that might be weighing heavy, that's creating that emotional weight. I do coaching and classes. So pick what works for you and whatever works for you in that moment. And you can try different things, different people, but do something for yourself to start easing up that stress that you've been harboring in your body for so long. So do you have any final words, Bev?
Just really stop and take some time for yourself, really looking at yourself. And it's okay. It seems like it's hard at first, but it's okay. And also I wanted to mention, someone was saying that it's really hard to find us actually on YouTube, because we use the and symbol. So that's instead of using the word and. So I just wanted to point that out. So it says Tea Time with Amy and Bev, and it's the symbol instead of the word. So that'll make it a little bit easier if you are having a struggle finding us. That was just pointed out to me just recently, and I didn't even think about it. I would never even have processed that being an issue, because I find it easily. So I don't know.
And
Yeah.
you can, on YouTube, if you look up Amy and Bev community, that's another way to find us. That's the channel. And then our podcast is Tea Time with Amy and Bev. So
There you go.
those were learning curves when I set everything up. It was in my early stages of this stuff. So I don't know that I can change that. I haven't looked into it. I've just left it alone. But that's why I find it important. I mean, it's on Spotify, our iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, and then all over Facebook. So it's like there's no reason why, other than the and sign, that you can't.
No, that would be the only thing. And I don't know if I would even change it, because it's like, if you're I go back to the same conversation. If you're meant to find that this is where if this is what resonates with you, if it resonates with your soul, you're going to find it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But I just wanted to point that out just for people. I wouldn't go change any of that stuff. I would leave it just the way it is.
And then, like we talked about, the responsibility is ask the question. Hey, how do I find you? I can't find you guys. How do I find you? And you can send a link. I can send a link to them, right? So that's part of that. If you want the information and you desire it, you'll find a way to get it. And a great way to do that is ask questions.
And it's true. And I wanted to point that out, because on the bottom of my list, I was like trying to read my writing. I'm like, what did I write? And I put asking questions. If you don't know how to ask questions, if you don't know what questions to ask, just say, I don't know what questions to ask. Help me out. Ask questions that are going to bring the things that I really intend to bring into my experience. Like, ask questions.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers, but we have connection to all the answers.
And you can ask the universe. The universe.
That's what I mean.
How do I get this podcast? I can't find this podcast of Amy and Bev. And you know what's going to happen? Like, if you're on social media, you can guarantee you're going to scroll up a little bit, and there we are.
Yep. Or someone's going to suddenly send it. Yeah. Someone will send it out to you right now. Or it always shows up when you ask. But it's just asking us questions. I didn't clarify, but when you're asking, I ask Holy Spirit, I ask God, I ask the Creator, I ask my guides, I ask my angels, whatever I feel like doing at that time.
Yeah.
And I have second guessed it. I don't second guess it anymore. Like, if I say, okay, oh no, I didn't mean to ask for angels. No, yes, you did, because you said angels first, and then your mind got into it real quick and tried to change where you were going with the whole path. It's like, no, just go along with what first came to you.
Right.
So,
Universe is there to help us and co-create with us, and they always have access to them. Always.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.